Thanks, Ruth. Good morning, everybody. As Ruth said, and you might remember me from last week, I'm Gab Chabran. I am the Priority Projects Manager with EXP. I'd like to welcome you all to today's presentation as part of our virtual guest speaker series, co-hosted with the ProvenReady program. Before I introduce today's speaker, I want to briefly tell you a little bit about our organizations. EXP is a Southern California nonprofit known as the Opportunity Engine. Why is that? Through programs like this one, EXP prepares great students like you for a better life. Our programs help you gain experience, unlock doors, and build the confidence you need to succeed in school, career, and life. ProvenReady helps build tomorrow's workforce today by giving high school students the opportunity to learn about college and career opportunities in business, entrepreneurship, global trade, advanced transportation, and logistics, and the opportunity as well to earn industry certified credentials in those sectors. Check us out on our websites, expfuture.org and provenready.org, or follow us on social media. Now let's get started by giving a warm welcome to today's speaker, Rickey Childs. He is a supply chain management specialist with APL. He's an experienced director in labor relations, which demonstrated a history of working in the maritime industry. He brings strong operation professional, skilled in import, operation management, freight, international shipping, and safety management systems. Good morning, Rickey. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing amazing. How about yourselves?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you for joining us today. I want to start really quickly about what you were saying before. Obviously, we couldn't make last week work just because of scheduling, and we were talking a little bit about the importance of pivoting. Could you tell me a little bit more about that and just kind of your line of work and how that works on your end?
Yeah. So unfortunately, a few weeks ago, I wasn't able to attend the call just because my line of work, I'm kind of like a firefighter. So you know how you have your firefighter who's sitting in the firehouse and playing cards with their teammates, and next thing you know, you have a fire that you need to extinguish. You never know when that fire is going to happen. You never know how big that fire is going to be, but when that fire does happen, you have to go put it out. And that's my life right now. I play many different roles for my company. One is the vice president of labor relations. Another one is that I assist with all things operational. So moving the cargo from the marine terminals to the rail ramps, from the rail ramps to the customer's warehouse, you name it. So I have involvement in all parts of the supply chain. So unfortunately, I had a fire to attend to last week that I needed to address and couldn't make the call. So I apologize for that.
No worries, no worries. No, that's fascinating stuff. You wear a lot of different hats, and I think that really kind of showcases how even in our jobs and careers, while we think we're going in for one thing, we always end up doing a lot of different other things too, kind of under that heading in that respect. I know that's something that definitely I can relate to, as well as some of our partners here today, as far as that goes. I'm wondering if you can tell us how you were exposed to this career path.
Yeah, I took an unconventional road. I wish I had the programs in which the individuals on the call today had the exposure. When I was in high school, I grew up in Compton, California, so not too far from the port, but didn't know the port existed. I would drive down to Long Beach and to LA, to San Pedro, and hang out at the wharf and go to restaurants, but never really realized what those cranes were. I thought they were straight out of Star Wars. Some big contraptions in which the Ewoks were riding on or something like that. So I didn't have the exposure, and I ended up going to UCLA and studying there. And of course, I took the traditional route. First I was going to be an engineer, and then I was going to be a doctor, and then I was going to be in entertainment. So the transportation, the supply chain business never really was exposed to me. After graduating from college, I took a role in sales. And once again, that's part of supply chain. That's cargo or, commodities being sold to, you and I, the end user, but really didn't resonate how that cargo was coming to me, how that product was getting into the stores. Luckily, I was in a career fair, and prior to taking my job as a sales rep, APL, my current employer, reached out to me and said, "Hey, are you interested in this management trainee program?" At the time, I didn't know who they were, but I submitted my resume, and they were interested, but I had told them I had taken another job, and they asked me if they could keep my resume on file. And I said, of course. So a couple of years into my sales job, I realized that there was a glass ceiling. I really wasn't going to move, as fast or learn as much as I wanted to learn. So APL came calling back and asked me would I be interested in the interview. Long story short, I had the interview, got the job as a management trainee, and entered the field that way. So it wasn't like it was something that was on my radar, was a lifelong goal. But 23 years later, I've done some really great things that I don't think I would have done if I was not in this industry.
Great. Thank you. So you kind of already got into this, but my next question is having you tell us a little bit about training or coursework that you received both in and out of the classroom. You kind of talked about sort of your journey with your education through college and what have you, but what other meaningful experiences you had as far as you feel like sort of helped you better prepare and train for your current position that you're in?
Yeah, that's a great question. So like I said, I went to UCLA. My coursework was psychology and business, which really works today in my labor relations role. But I didn't really have any supply chain knowledge. So when I came into the management trainee program, I was in my class, we had several individuals who came from maritime academies. So either from the East Coast or here locally on the West Coast, they had the knowledge of, vessels and trains and airplanes, in which I had no clue. I was lost. So I had to learn, I had to catch up to my colleagues, and which was fine because I'm a hard worker and I love challenges, but they had a leg up on me and I didn't like that. So what I did was I found out about the Global Logistics Specialist Program at Cal State Long Beach, and I enrolled myself in that because I wanted to make sure that I knew as much, if not more, than my colleagues, because I never wanted to be questioned on my capabilities in order to get the job done. So I took my time, while I was working, was going to school in evenings, taking that coursework, and end up getting my Global Logistics Specialist certification, which was great because it opened up my eyes to, the next steps I did in my career. Great.
What were some of the networks or people that helped you along the way?
So, what I tried to do was when I entered my role, which I try to find mentors, individuals who can coach me, show me where I might need areas for improvement. So that was the first thing I did was inside of my my company, because once again, I didn't have that history that some of my other colleagues had with classmates or professors or et cetera that could help guide them along their career path. So I started internally first. So as I started to learn more and meet more people or network more, because this is before LinkedIn, right? So you couldn't go out and reach out to someone in your field and say, hey, let's have a cup of coffee and let's discuss. So I started internally with my mentors there. And then what I started to do is I created a circle of friends, within the industry. We're all around the same age, all having the same experiences. So we used to have discussions about, what was going on in their career and in their life, and utilize that information and to help each other out. So I created a circle of influence, in which I used to call it. So we have individuals who were in air and logistics, being the NVOCCs. We had people who were working for Nike as a beneficial cargo owner. So I started to talk to them and understand what their challenges that they were facing, in this environment, and try to apply that to my, role in which I was working at the marine terminal at that time. So I was working down where we unload and offload the ships, and and load trains, and that was great because it was, for me, it was like a big kid. I'm playing with a whole bunch of Legos, playing with ships and trains and trucks. So it was great. But once it left my facility, I didn't know where it went. So the circle of influence helped me with that, along with my GLS class.
Great. You talked about seeking out mentors. In your opinion, what makes a good mentor?
A mentor for me is someone who's going to be able to listen, and really listen. Some people say they're listening to you, but they hear every other word. And some people are mentors because they try to solve all your problems for you. That's not what you need. You need someone who's going to provide good advice, guide you on a path, and let you make those decisions for yourself. So that's what I've had my share of mentors, some better than others. But anytime you can get input from someone else, you as the mentee is the critical piece, though, because you have to seek them out. You have to go talk to them. You have to, have a game plan where you reach out to them. So that's the way I see a good mentor, is making the time when you do seek them out, listening to you when you do speak to them, and then helping provide some guidance upon, what information you need.
Wonderful. Thank you. Just want to make a quick announcement really quickly. Our teacher, Mr. Downing, he put a message in the chat for students that are signed in under his name. Please make sure to go ahead and switch to your name, just so we can keep track of you. I imagine it's for attendance purposes and all that kind of stuff. Also, if you have questions for Rickey, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll try to get to them as they come. Just as far as that goes, just like last time, folks, we're here for you to hear from Rickey. So we want to hear from you as far as your questions, thoughts, anything like that for Rickey here today, just to make the best use of our time as far as that goes. So great. Sorry, just wanted to get that little bit of housekeeping out of the way as far as that goes. What are some tips for some that you can give some of the students who are interested in getting into this field?
Yeah, so some tips I would have is to have an open mind, to not come into the industry feeling as if you know everything or have some preconceived notions about what the industry is. I think that if you come in with an open mind and are willing to learn from, all different aspects of the industry, I think that you will go a long way. I think that you need to be flexible because this environment is always changing. What's up is down and what's down is up. Like even right now, after the tail end of a pandemic, who knew we were going to have the year we had in 2020, and working from home and virtually and trying to still move cargo, and the fluctuations of the cargo, be it from first it was electronics and then it was toilet paper, and everybody needed that. And then they needed home goods, being desks and laptops and for their home offices or for school. So everything was very much in flux and you had to pivot, on any given day. So one of the things in which we always say is having a tolerance of ambiguity. I think if you can have that tolerance and be able to think outside the box for solutions, you would do really well in this industry. The next thing I would say is be always open to learning. Similar to what I said, I took the GLS program at first. And then I went back for my master's. And then I'm always looking for different opportunities to take certification programs or whatever to improve, my skill set and add to my toolbox. So I think those are things in which I would say, as far as tips on trying to or becoming successful, not only in this industry, but in life. I think that'll be my tips to the team or the students.
Great. Thanks, Rickey. I want to return back to something that you said earlier. You said you're a native of Compton, California, and that even though you were close to the port, you didn't really kind of know, about its existence. I want to take that a little step further and extend that. Being a person of color in this industry, how have you navigated kind of that space? Given that, a lot of folks, the students here in the audience are probably coming from, similar Black and brown communities as far as that goes. And what has been sort of helpful for you when sort of establishing yourself in this career field?
Yeah, so it's been interesting to say the least. And a lot of different venues or areas within my industry, I'm the only one, right? So I feel that I am being a trailblazer for, African Americans or even, Latin Americans, Latinos. So what I try to do is make sure that, once again, as I stated before, that I am equipped to make sure that, because I am a trailblazer, they know that people coming behind me are just going to be just as good or better than I am, in this industry. Growing up in Compton, California, especially in the 90s and the 80s, there was a lot of gang situation and trying to avoid falling into those traps was difficult, and I pretty much relied upon education and athletics in order to help me, avoid those issues. And then taking that to the business world, because of my history with athletics, I knew how to be a team player. And being a team player is critical, and you being able to adapt to situations where you may be the only one, because you know that you're a team player. And, hopefully once you establish that with your teammates, the, race, nationality, whatever is no longer a problem, if it was a problem, for others. But like I said before, you just being able to say that I have the skills in order to do the job is the most critical piece.
Wow, excellent. Thank you. To kind of further that point a little bit, you talked about the importance of being a team player. What do you think? I mean, you mentioned a little bit about it, but is there more that you would kind of care to say that sort of goes into that you would want to share with the students today?
Yeah, so I mean, in the supply chain, you have so many different partners. So I always compare it to a 4x100 relay race, right? So, you have someone who starts off the relay and they have the baton in their hand. And you can be the fastest runner on the team, but if you don't hand that baton off properly, your team loses. So you have to have a coordinated approach as far as how you get things done. So that's the way I try to tell my teammates and, people who work for me and people who work above me, is that we have to be coordinated in regards to our approach. And we have to hand that baton off smoothly. Sometimes, you have situations where the baton drops and you have to figure out why that happened. Did I approach you too fast? Did you take off too fast? We have to figure those things out. So having those conversations and being able to be as open and honest as you can be is the best way to resolving those type of challenges and moving forward and getting better.
Awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
Can you tell us about a cool part of your job that you especially like?
What I really love about my job, and one of the things that I was able to do, and which I never, ever, ever thought I would ever do, is that I've hit 5 of the 7 continents. So I've traveled extensively in my career. Growing up in Compton, California, just going to Texas or Oakland, California, or something like that was a treat for me. But being able to get my passport and get a passport in which I had to put additional pages in because of all the places I've been was amazing. So from Europe, I've been to Germany, France, Italy, England, any place there's a waterport in Europe, I've been. I've been to Asia. I've been to the Middle East. I lived in Latin America for 3 years. I lived in Panama. And I've been from Mexico down to Brazil. So those experiences, in which growing up, I thought that there was only two options to travel like that. Either be a world famous entertainer or be an athlete that has the resources to do that in the off season. And, and I have, friends who have done both. But when we open up our passports, guess who has more stamps? Me. So I think that was part of, because of this industry being international and the global economy that we currently live in, it allowed me to have those experiences.
Where was your favorite place to visit?
Oh, that's a tough one, man. I've had
you don't have to pick just one.
Yeah, I had so many great experiences, but I think what I really enjoyed was the Middle East. So I really enjoyed Dubai and Abu Dhabi. It was very clean, and it reminded me of Vegas, in which they had all the different luxury. I mean, they have a street in which is full of gold. They have a mall that has where you can ski inside of the mall. They have the largest aquarium in the world. They have the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. In Abu Dhabi, they had this place called Ferrari World, where you can go and drive Ferraris around a track. So just those experiences, once again, that, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would be able to experience those things, and to be able to do it, in that fashion was amazing.
Okay. I only know those places from my Apple TV screensaver. So, I mean, that's I'm always looking at it and be like, wow, that looks really cool, especially the Dubai one.
Yep.
So I wanted to kind of turn it back again to opportunities for the students. Are you aware of any internships or organizations that students or they're listening to this now, that might be able to tap into now to kind of get their foot in the door?
So, one of the tough things, and I think things are going to start opening up a little bit now after the pandemic, is a lot of businesses were very concerned about introducing any, students or outside individuals into the office, and trying to have someone intern virtually is very difficult, So as we get to June 15th and California opens up, I think those opportunities will be more abundant. But I think everybody's being very cautious as far as how they go about that. I know in my previous roles, specifically when I was running the terminal in LA, Pier 300, I was a huge proponent of internship and bringing individuals in and teaching them the skills in which would be needed when they did enter the workforce. I am still that way. But I don't want to, expose anyone to anything on either side. So I can start to reach out to some of my colleagues to see, who is looking at potentially bringing in interns, because, we always want to educate the next wave of supply chain managers. So I will get back to you, Gabe, on that one. But I think there will be opportunities in the summer. We just need to get past this last little part of the pandemic.
Amen. Yeah, we all hear that. So, but if you could, would you be able to provide a little more detail in terms of what those internships might look like, in maybe a pre-COVID world, as far as that goes, based off your
Yeah.
experiences? Just
Yeah,
to
no
give the
problem.
students a better idea.
Yeah, no problem. So, what we've done in the past, what I've done in the past is brought in students, and what I would have a specific project for them, be it looking at a certain aspect of the operation and get their opinion in regards to improving that. So what they would do is like log certain things, KPIs or key performance indicators onto a spreadsheet and track that for us. And, in that they will be using their Excel skills and their research skills in order to provide us very good information that we need in order to make decisions about the operation moving forward. And, 1 year I had them, when I was at the terminal, we had them track the radios and the effectiveness of the communication and how many channels we had and the return policy and whether or not we were losing radios. And they came with a really good recommendation on moving forward, which would save the company a few $1,000s. So I think that partnership has been really good for both parties. So those are some of the things that we've done in the past.
Awesome. And then if we could take it a little step further, what about entry job level positions? Which are some ones that are available to maybe students after they go through a 4-year or a community college that might be available to them too at the same time that you're aware of?
So there are so many different options in the supply chain. So you can go and work for a trucking company, or you can go and work for a logistics company in Carson, California, or you can come and work down at the terminals as an entry-level superintendent, or you can come work for a steamship line and do some more administrative office type work. Or, depending on if you go to a maritime academy, you can go get on a boat and sail for a few years. So the opportunities are endless. And, as we start to lose employees through attrition, those opportunities are becoming more and more abundant because you have a lot of people who are starting to retire, and we're going to need to backfill that talent in a lot of different ways. So, I think that once again, this is a niche profession, and not many individuals have the knowledge and the understanding of it. So if you continue to take the coursework and these type of opportunities, and then maybe take that next level to a community college or a university, I think that you determine what you want to do. And, it all depends on if I forget the air freight side of the business as well. You can go work at LAX, FedEx, UPS, so many different opportunities. So Amazon is a huge employer right now. So yeah, opportunities are endless.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, that leads into my next and final question for you right now. How do you see the future of this profession going with the impact of digitization?
So as far as digitization and automation is concerned, I think that, we're going to continue to proceed down that path. I think we're still trying to figure it out as far as what information is needed by the end user and how that's going to be presented. I think individuals who do have skills using digitization and automation will be able to find, roles in corporations very easily. That doesn't mean that there aren't other options for individuals, because we're still going to need somebody to drive the truck. You can't digitize that. You're going to have someone who moves the pallets of cargo from the truck to the warehouse. So you have opportunities for that. So you can't automate and digitize everything. So there will be roles and opportunities for everyone, because I don't think the globalization that we're currently dealing with is going to change. I think that, when I was a kid, you had fruit seasonally, right? You had cherries one part of the year, and then, apricots another part of the year, and apples for another. Now we have it year round. Why is that? Because we're getting shipments from South America, Asia, wherever, the off season for us is the on season for them. And we enjoy that, to be able to source anything and everything whenever we want it. It's that Amazon thing. We want that shipment next day. And I think that because of the evolution of how we live our lives, there's going to be roles for individuals in order to make sure that happens.
Thanks, Rickey. Okay, so as I mentioned, those are all of my prepared list of questions. I'd like to open it up now to everybody in the audience, especially you students out there, who I know looks like there's 60 something of you out there. So I know somebody's got to have a question about something that Rickey just said. However, I'm going to turn it over to our partners to see if Ruth, I'm not sure if she's still on the call, or Katie, or Mr. Dowding, if you have any other questions for Rickey now at this point. Love to kind of kick off the conversation as far as that goes. Folks?
Sure. Yeah, I'm still on, Gabe. This is
Okay.
so great and exactly what we wanted. So thank you so much, Rickey, for sharing your experiences. I have a question. I really would like to know kind of on your day-to-day. I know you mentioned some skills, Excel, kind of like, what is your day-to-day like? Can you walk us off? I know you said you're constantly pivoting, but just so that people understand.
Yeah, every day is different. But, for the most part, I am helping our customers receive their shipments timely. So, for example, right now, as I stated before, there are around 21 ships at anchor because of the high volumes that we're receiving into the port of LA Long Beach right now. Some of that is caused by the pandemic, and we had some issues where we had some shortage of people to do the work all across the supply chain, be it truckers, be it warehouse, be it longshoremen on the docks. So a lot of different facilities, they do a just-in-time type of shipment or supply chain methodology, meaning that they don't store stuff. They get it to their warehouses or distribution centers just in time. So a lot of the plants or manufacturing companies are starting to run out of product because of these delays. So what I've been doing recently is I have my Excel spreadsheets. I'm prioritizing cargo to get to Nike because, their outlets and their stores are limited with the new Jordan 3s that are releasing. I am helping Lowe's get their barbecue pits out to their stores because they're having Memorial Day sales and Father Day sales coming up. So that's been a lot of my day-to-day right now. On top of that, I am preparing for negotiations next month with a bargaining union up in Seattle. So our 3-year agreement is up. So we need to discuss what the future is going to entail. So I'm preparing for that. And then also what I'm doing is I'm helping try to find federal grant money for a terminal that we have in Alaska. So I am working on a application to submit for a product improvement plan and some green energy in that facility. So you have to have Excel skills. You have to be very good at multitasking, very customer focused, be able to have some skills to research as far as the grants are concerned. and then negotiation skills when it comes to the new agreement with the bargaining unit. So a little bit of everything.
That's great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions out there? Again, I'm gonna push to hear from some students. It can be about anything really at this point.
Correct. No, I'm an open book. Please.
Yeah, you can ask Ricky what his favorite color is.
That would be blue.
Okay. Well,
Ricky, what are some challenges or frustrations that you have in a non-COVID world?
In the non-COVID world?
Yeah, frustrations and challenges.
I think some of the frustrations and challenges that I face is sometimes dealing with certain vendors. For example, the railroads is one of my frustrations. So you have 4 Class 1 railroads, 2 on the West Coast, 2 on the East Coast. And because of their position, it's somewhat of a monopoly, right? They determine and dictate what they're going to do and not do. And, we have sold a product to our customer base, the Nikes, the Lowe's, the Amazons of the world, that we're going to get their freight to them in these inland destinations at a certain period of time. And sometimes the BN and the UP don't play ball. So trying to convince or motivate someone that does not need to be motivated is sometimes very challenging. So I think that that is one of the challenges we face, which is a good challenge because that means the company is doing well, product is flowing, cargo is moving, but it becomes difficult because then you have to manage the expectations of your customer as well.
Any other questions before we wrap up today?
Ricky, you perked some attention that they're all curious about the Nike 3s. Do you get access to those?
Do I get access? Not because I'm in this industry, but I do have a friend who works at Nike, as I stated before. So I go through him.
APL, obviously, as the company that you are, deals with a lot of different companies. So they were curious if you have other companies other than Nike, and if you're at liberty to share some of the ones that you guys provide services for.
Just look at what you have on today. If you have on an iWatch or an iPhone, Apple, we work with them. If you have a Samsung phone or an LG phone, we work with them. If you are wearing Adidas today, I was just talking to an Adidas rep. We work with them. So anything and everything that you can go and buy, either via Amazon, we work with Amazon exclusively, Costco. So all of those big name corporations that we have relationships with.
So reflecting back on your 13, 14, 15-year-old self, what advice or what tips for success would you give young adults?
I think, first of all, because they're here, they're doing great. That is extremely amazing to me because my 13, 14, 15-year-old self would not been in this opportunity to have these discussions with someone, has the industry experience that I have, and to be able to communicate that to them. So I think that, once again, at 13, 14, 15, you still have time to figure out what you want to do. But trying to have a plan as far as what you want to do leads you on the right path. And I think that, that's the first thing you want, is to try to say, hey, I want to, be in the supply chain industry, or I want to go to community college, or I want to attend a university. As long as you have a plan, that is great. And then from that plan, you can always, as we stated before, pivot, but you need to start with a plan.
I'd like to, because I'm hearing the fingertips clicking. So whatever you're saying, everything, they're writing it down. But I wanted to summarize some of the skills that you talked about. So for internships, they give you typically project based. So you
Correct.
need to be organized. You need to be able to communicate. Hear the term pivot. So pivot is adjust to change. So you as students, have you had to pivot like 100 times in the last year at least? Yep. So businesses are looking to adapting to change. Thinking critically, solving problems, communicating with people. Do you hear technology? My students, do you hear him saying Excel? So when I tell him you need Excel, yeah. I didn't prompt him. I didn't give him $20 and say you need to know Excel skills. He's telling you this from experience. All right. It has been a difficult year. It has been a challenge, but you are now better prepared for the success with it. Are there any skills that they should also have while I'm hearing the keyboards clicking?
I think you hit it the nail right on the head. I mean, communication, problem solving, Excel skills. Just one of the things in which people don't really utilize all that great these days are written skills, right? We're so used to texting and using short, or words or OMG, LOL type vernacular. I think that the written word has lost its power a little bit. So I think being able to communicate verbally and in an email format is also something that we need to also bring to the table.
You had mentioned at one point you wanted to be an entertainer. What type of entertainer were you looking at?
So not an entertainer, but I was in entertainment. So
okay.
I was working for a few record labels. Back in the day, one was Sony, Columbia, in their A&R department. So I was interning there for when I was a junior and senior at UCLA. So I thought that I was gonna be in the music industry, but I decided that was so unstable, and it was basically an industry that was predicated on what have you done for me lately, and I did not want to live my life like that. So I wanted something more stable, and transportation is about as stable as you can get.
So with that, here are something transferable skills. So those of you that are seniors as you're developing your portfolio, he was in entertainment. Do you think he learned some skills there that he transferred to his next job? Yep. As he's been in the different positions with APL, do you think he learned skills that he could transfer to another position? So here's some of the opportunities he's had. He's traveled the world. He's been to all 7 continents. Imagine the opportunities that gets, meeting different cultures, eating different food, having to communicate with people in different languages and different cultures. Hear how he's talking about Abu Dhabi. And just the opportunities that has provided. So what sometimes you need to be open to change. It may be difficult, but that's okay. It may be something that you've never done before. That's okay. So hear the richness that he's sharing in his opportunities in his life. So on that, just out of curiosity, what's I know we're Long Beach and LA. What's the most unique or interesting port other than those 2 that you visited?
Shanghai, China.
Because that's twice the size of ours combined.
Correct.
So you're looking at about 30 to 35 million TEUs a year.
Yep. So Shanghai, China would be one. Singapore would be number 2. And then the third would be Rotterdam, because it's highly automated there. So those are the 3 in which I really enjoyed and took a lot from my visits.
Can you share a little bit what happens at those ports with the automation, if you could?
So we have 2 here in LA Long Beach now. One is in LA at a terminal called TrayPack, and the other one's in Long Beach at a facility called LBCT. And you have these huge vessels that call the Asia to Europe trade lane. And they come into the port, and you have the cranes who are manless. So there's no one driving the crane. There's someone with a joystick or a PlayStation controller in an all air-conditioned office with cameras, and they are using that in order to operate the crane remotely. That box comes off of the ship onto a automated guided vehicle, in which it's kind of like a tray on wheels, and they drop it into that, and they take it to a crane that is also automated, and they pick it up and put it into a stack, and then they wait for either a truck to come pick it up for its final destination or load it onto a train to its final destination. All automated, all manless. All the operators are inside a building using computer skills in order to manipulate the movements. So some of the video game skills that you're currently using, playing Call of Duty, come into play in these roles.
Yeah.
So as your role in labor relations, I know that there's fear in the industry that the robots, the machines are going to take things over. Is that in fact going to be the case?
No. As I was talking about earlier when Gabe asked me about digitization and automation and how that's going to impact the workforce, the job market, what that ends up doing is, once again, as we stated before, the key word of today is pivot. So it allows the industry to pivot. So once again, the call to duty skill sets, that's a new role for you. Being able to repair these machines and keep them working properly is a new role. So there's other opportunities that present themselves as the work evolves. So we just need to be in front of it and have the workforce with the skill sets to get that done. So I go back just.
Mr. Pott?
So
go
just
ahead.
real
Sorry.
Quick, yeah, I'm just. I mean, and you know, I'm probably not old enough to remember this either. But prior to containerization, you know, we used to ship all these goods in like these big sacks, and forever, you know, at that time, people were like, "Oh no, you're putting it into a container." That's going to totally change and reduce the number of individuals who are working. No, it didn't. The industry actually grew because of that technology. And I think that people should not be afraid of technology. It just changes things and it allows you to be more effective.
While they're formulating their questions, Ricky, I offer double, triple secret extra credit if they link in you. So if any of our students link in, can you send me a note later? We usually have a prize for who gets it first.
I shared Ricky's LinkedIn in the chat too. If students are looking for it. So, and these are Ricky. These are some powerhouse LinkedIn users. So, feel get ready to be expanding your network 5 and 10-fold after today.
Excellent. I love it. So I don't know if Ruth qualifies for the extra credit, but she was the first one.
Okay.
Jim, I get the prize.
Ruth, would you like one of the brand new logoed AGL jackets or shirts?
I would love that, and I will wear it proudly.
Okay, I'll talk to you offline about the size. And I'll stop up to campus and deliver that to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim.
So other questions? I'm seeing another Mr. Dowding with no questions. Mr. Ponce has no questions yet. How is the industry changing? What lessons has the industry learned or done because of COVID and the pandemic?
So, you know, what we learned and understood is that we have the capability and the technology to work virtually. You know, there was a huge concern that we were not going to be able to meet the customer's needs working in that environment. A lot of our history has been boots on the ground, face-to-face with customers and discussing that, any type of challenges or resolutions with them in that format. But that had to change. Our head office in Marseille, I think that we have a huge office with like 3,000 employees in it, monitoring the whole wide world. And that was pretty much vacant for the last year and a half. But the business is booming and we're profitable. So I think we're going to start to reconsider brick and mortar type of operations where you have employees in one site. I think that we might start to look at more virtual opportunities for people, which opens up your ability to recruit. Because now, if you find a great candidate in North Dakota, then that person can work at North Dakota and work and be successful. So I think it broadens our ability to really recruit talent, because there's certain areas of the country in which it's cost prohibitive for people to live.
Rickey, a couple questions. I hope if I'm cutting into your time, I know enough to shut up. But one, I see that your company just launched a new ship in honor of your founder.
Yep.
And then if you can tell us a little bit about what your company is and how big it is. I don't think everybody realizes the importance that your company plays in the supply chain.
Yeah, so Jacques Sade, I think it's been maybe 3 years now where he passed on. We, in his honor, they built this LNG vessel, which once again is kind of what our mission statement is to help for sustainability purposes, reducing our carbon footprint, being green allows for that with these LNG ships. So they launched that, and that vessel calls between Asia and Europe. But in regards to our size, we go back and forth, but I just say for modesty, we're the third largest shipping company in the world. I don't know what the number of employees is right at this point, but I would say close to 10,000 employees, if not more, across the globe. Like I said before, we ship all your major lines such as Nike, Lowe's, Home Depot, Costco, Amazon, etc. We're the shipping line of choice for those customers.
What is LNG?
Liquid nitrogen gas. So it's not a fossil fuel. So usually we use like diesel or some form of diesel for our fuel for our vessels. This is clean fuel.
And one of the reasons they're doing this is so less of an impact on the environment, less soot, less of the pollutants that we may have with that.
Correct.
Maybe more of a technical question.
Yep.
How have the changes in alliances affected your industry? So what's happening, students, is each of the carriers used to operate somewhat independently, and what they started doing is creating alliances. So I'm on your team, you're on my team. And if I can't cover a certain port or certain trade lanes, I'll defer to my associates, some of my alliances. Has that changed your industry?
Yeah, it's changed it tremendously. So the utilization of the vessels have gone up because of that. So before, if I was riding or had to, fill up my ship independently without these partners, a lot of times my ship would leave Asia 80% full, in which that will increase the costs across the board for everyone. So now the ships are leaving the Asia ports like 95 to 98% utilized.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Mr. Dowling, for all your great questions. Once again, always lucky to have you. Students are lucky to have you. So we really appreciate it, as well as this opportunity to have Rickey come out, especially given rescheduling and all that kind of stuff. Really, just speaking personally, happy we could make this happen as far as that goes. So thank you to Katie also for making this opportunity available to us. So with, I just want to be, we've gone a little bit over, so I want to be respectful of Rickey's time. He's a very busy guy. So thank you again, everybody, for coming out. We truly appreciate it. And for listening to Rickey's story and for this interview portion for ProvenReady along with EXP. We truly appreciate all the thoughtful conversation that went into today. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
All right.